Hello and welcome back to the Quickcrop garden. Well, today it's the end of September, we're coming into autumn and we're into the harvesting cycle of the garden. And today we're going to look at harvesting potatoes and an ingenious way of storing them. I've got Niall in the garden today, so a bit of a helping hand. Hey?
How are we doing?
Good, good, yeah,
so
great.
Where are we at today?
Well, we're going to build a traditional potato clamp, which is an old school way of storing potatoes in the garden.
Oh, great.
So we have a bit of a dig in the bed here.
Excellent. Oh my God, Andrew, look at the size of these potatoes.
They're nice, aren't they?
What variety are these?
They're Orla. I would have put those in the summer. Now you're probably wondering why there's no leaves or anything here.
No foliage at all, yeah.
They got a little bit of attack of blight a couple of weeks ago, and what I like to do at this time of year is just get all the foliage off. That'll stop the blight spreading down into the tubers. So I cleared them all off, and now we're digging up the potatoes.
So many. Look at the size of this thing. My word. I haven't seen a potato like that ever, I think.
I genuinely. Now folks, this is totally live. This isn't us just burying odd-shaped potatoes. Look at the size of this thing.
And is that because the soil is so loose, or what is it?
Yeah, it kind of is. You can feel how loose the soil is there. This bed is nice and well drained, and it allows the potatoes.
But it must be hugely fed soil as well to create potatoes.
It is, yes. Yeah, we would have put a good bit of EnviroGrind in there in the spring to feed them up.
But the skin on them and everything is lovely, like, you know?
Yeah, and that's what's particularly interesting for me now, because we want to make this into a potato store. And I can see we've got no signs of any wireworm, any slug damage or anything.
That's right.
So we know this bed is kind of pest free. And what we're going to do is we're going to make what's called a clamp, and we're going to build a pile of potatoes in here, cover it with soil, and that will keep them for the winter.
So it's really important that the soil that you're putting the clamp into doesn't have any slugs or anything in it.
Absolutely, because they're just going to attack potatoes. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop over to the other side of the garden, and I'm going to dig some potatoes. I'll show you a bit of that slug damage, and we'll bring a few of them back here, the good ones, and we'll store them for the winter.
We might have some for lunch.
Yeah, maybe.
Good.
Right now, we're in the lower garden now, and we're going to dig a few potatoes, and I'm going to go for this bed here.
So you've Mypex or ground cover there. Why have you that on the bed?
Okay, well the reason I did that was we had an attack of blight again, right? And I removed all the foliage from the tubers. Now, the reason I've added the Mypex is if any of those potatoes would come up to the surface of the soil, the sunlight makes them go green. It goes poisonous.
Like, I get that quite a bit, and I've never realised that if you've covered it. Why do they come?
You'd be surprised. You saw it there when we dug in the beds there. You'd be surprised how close to the surface they come, especially if you don't earth the potatoes up. Earthing up is important to do that. So basically this was really just as a measure to stop that happening, so it keeps it nice and dark under there.
The foliage gives cover, but once you get rid of that, then
and you'll find birds, if one comes to the surface, will be pecking at it and that type of thing. So it's a good way to cover them. So I'm going to pull it back now and we'll see what we got under here. Let's see what we got. Okay, we're going to start having a bit of a dig here, right?
Okay, cool.
Now, you know this anyway. I'm just kind of saying this for the benefit of the camera, but I tend to lose most of my potatoes, not most of them, but I use quite a lot with actually pronging them with the fork. So when you are digging your potatoes, come in from the side and go straight down and try and come in underneath them.
We need to get some of those potato forks, you know, the ones with the bigger prongs, so they don't
the blunt ends.
Yeah, we got to get them.
Yeah, true,
I'll look after that.
Okay. Okay, let's see what we got here. So we're going to come up under the potatoes.
Oh,
okay, nice.
Look at that.
Lovely.
They're big again,
aren't they? Yeah.
So what variety are they?
They're Setanta. Okay. So that's an Irish bred blight resistant variety.
So they have a much harder skin.
Yeah, well the reason that the skin now has gone a bit harder like that is I've left these in the ground. I cut all the foliage off about a month ago, and I've left the skins to cure, to harden up like that.
What advantage is that?
Basically they'll store better. So if you dig them too early and the skins are kind of thin and papery like an early potato, they don't store as well.
But they're a really tasty potato, aren't they, Setanta? They're my favourite, aren't they?
Yeah, they're a main crop, as I said, blight resistant. Not quite as blight resistant as the Sarpo, but to be honest with you, they're the two I grow, and 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But taste, I really like these.
Yeah, look, they're nice size, but they're not too big either.
No, perfect. Right now, we've got a nice little harvest there.
Great crop there, Setanta and Sarpo Mira.
Yeah, we've got a mix there. You can see the Sarpo there. You know, it's really characteristic, big long potatoes like that.
And these guys are much pinker. Aren't they?
Sarpo's more of a kind of salmon pink. Now, so we're basically, I know that I had a slug problem in those beds, right? And that's why I'm going to take the potatoes out and store them. So we're going to have to be a bit picky here.
These guys are probably wondering why I have a knife, and it's no disrespect to you, right? I'm just going to show you, right? Basically, this one here has holes on the side of it, right? And typically, if you cut one open there, just be careful with the fingers, obviously, when you're doing it. Look, it's right through.
Slug damage.
Yeah, well, they've destroyed. There's only a little hole on the side of it, and you go and you take it inside into the kitchen. it's destroyed.
Yeah.
So you don't want them in your clamp, is that right?
Well, basically the problem is that disease can get in through that slug hole, and that potato will rot, and then that rot can spread to the rest of them. So you can destroy your stored potatoes. So I suppose we better sort them all out.
Yeah, well, that's the fun part as far as I'm concerned. But you have to treat them delicately. A lot of people sort of throw potatoes around.
Yeah.
If they get bruised, there's no point in storing them. So let's do that maybe.
Oh yeah, okay. We do it one by one as we put them in.
Exactly.
All right. Should we pop back to the bed?
Yeah, cool.
I'm going to build our potato storage clamp in this raised bed, so first we need to remove any potatoes from this year's crop and put them aside. Next we're digging a large hole in the centre of the bed and placing the soil in piles at either end. This hole forms the base of our storage clamp. So we got our hole dug now. Niall, you've gone off and got some straw.
Yeah, well, this is the part of gardening I love, Andrew, making a cake. So what are we doing?
Okay, well, yeah, cake or bird's nest or whatever, but essentially what we're doing is we're going to line the hole with straw. The straw is like insulation.
Yeah.
So we line the hole with straw. Yeah. We're adding our potatoes. We might even add a couple of things, carrots and beetroot as well, because any root crops we can store this way. Right. Cover the whole thing in straw and then soil over the top. Well, let's add the potatoes.
Let's start the cake, huh? Okay, so as we said earlier on, we're checking them as they're going in, okay? So we're really putting the A-team of the potatoes in here, is that right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, cool.
And if we're putting the A-team in, I think this guy has to be BA Baracus.
Well, all right, yeah, nice one.
Realistically, these should protect the potatoes down to much colder than the winters we usually have.
Yes, yeah.
But look, let's see what happens.
But you're going to have to go good and deep on the top, are you?
Yeah, you're going to put, I suppose you're putting about maybe 8 inches or so of soil over the whole thing, and then you'll see when we finish, we leave a little straw chimney then at the top.
They're all nice and clean. I notice this one here has quite a bit of muck on it. Should you get rid of that before?
Any big lumps of mud, if it is, I would just brush it off, just lightly, but brush it lightly. And guys, this is only half of them now, but this harvest of Orla all came from this quite small bed. Yeah. And realistically, the costing, and I've maybe 7 or 8 times this amount in the whole garden. Yeah. Realistically, it was only a couple of bags of seed potatoes, and look how much you get out of it. Like,
what most people don't understand is typically a seed potato is about this size or this size, and I think what most people don't understand is one small potato like that can give you 15, 20 potatoes if the soil conditions are right. Yeah. And if everything is good. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I love the colours of these sappos, aren't they just class?
I also love, he's kind of making like a squirrel here. I love this idea of storing away the harvest for the winter, especially in this sort of old school natural way.
Yeah.
You know,
well, this is the way it was always done.
Yeah.
You know, all we're doing is robbing the ideas from the past. Now, you just have to be careful. It's very easy to just quickly throw something down, then all of a sudden we've got a slug in there. Yeah. You've just given them a party for the winter. You know?
Okay. Right, well, we've got a decent sized clamp here. You can make these much bigger. If you've got sort of field scale stuff, you can do a big long one. But now we need to cover it with straw. Niall's here with some more straw. So we're putting a good layer around it. Again, the straw is kind of for insulation here. Fantastic. Giving them a good covering.
And the sides as well, I think it's important to say.
Yeah,
make sure you get
exactly.
There, yeah.
That's about enough there. We got to suppose a couple of inches there. Yeah. And then we're starting to backfill then with soil. Now we're going to leave the top. Now, what we're going to do at the top, if you wouldn't mind grabbing there a pile of soil, a pile of straw there. Yeah. So essentially we're making kind of a kind of a
chimney, is it?
Yeah, kind of a maybe 6-inch kind of chimney like that, and that just allows a bit of air to move up through it, and then we're just going to cover around that.
That's very clever.
And leave that poking out the top. Yeah. That's pretty much it. I'm going to add a little bit more soil actually after we've gone. Yeah. So essentially we got our pile of potatoes there. As I said, nice and moist and cool. The soil in the bed is going to hold on to a certain amount of moisture. It's not going to be wet, and then we have a little bit of ventilation there at the top, and that's it. That's this. People have been doing this for thousands of years.
And if you do it in a raised bed like that, there's one other major advantage. You've covered the rest of the soil to stop soil leaching during the winter.
Yeah,
didn't think of that, did you?
Absolutely, and the raised bed is going to keep it kind of dry, drier than if it was in the ground. Sorry, normally if you're building one of these in your garden in a field, you would dig a drain around it, but we don't need to bother here because we've got it in the raised bed.
Excellent. Well, that wasn't too
Niall,
hard.
thanks very much.
Excellent. Enjoyed that.
Fantastic.
Cheers.
As always, everything available in this video, though there aren't many products, unlike usual, unlike myself and Niall. But if you want help, expertise, or any advice that we can give you, feel free to contact Quickcrop at any time. We are always delighted to help.
Yeah, and enjoy it, folks.